Yeah, some great words there from James Maddison on Mikey Moore. Just incidentally, Spurs have a 100% record in this competition. Only they and Lazio have that as well. So Spurs are doing very well as they mean to go on in this competition. But Maddison saying that for a while it felt as though we had Neymar on the left wing. That's high praise.
Which one?
Well, yeah, I mean, 20 minutes is more than Neymar's been Neymar for the last couple of years, so it's not bad going.
I take his point, though.
Yeah.
I take his point. We've talked on this show about how highly he's rated. I speak to Tim Sherwood and Jermaine Defoe about him. They've seen a lot of him over the last 3 or 4 years coming through the academy. He had a great 20 minutes, as James Maddison said. He's wriggling away from people. When you get that little bit older and a little bit more experienced, you can start to pick the right passes and make the right choices. And it looked tonight for, as James Maddison said, 20 minutes. He was on fire. He was unplayable. He was getting to the byline. He was mixing his game up. He wasn't just dropping inside. He was coming deep. You can see that he's got good balance, good turn of pace to get away from people. Yeah, so I think confidence-wise, this tournament, this competition is going to be huge for young players like Mikey Moore.
I think that's what's really encouraging for Spurs, is that they're able, as you say, they've won 3 and 3 now. That's not them qualified and they'll want to finish in the top 8, but they are well on course for it. They are using this competition as you want to use the Europa League. You're giving Mikey Moore a chance to play against high-quality opposition, but maybe not elite Premier League opposition just yet. Same for Lucas Birdval and some of the other kind of fringe players or young players in the team. That's what the Europa League is really useful for, giving those players a chance, getting them a chance to get minutes in their legs to play for 70, 80, 90 minutes in a way they can't if you're not in Europe or if you're in the Champions League, where it's too tough. It's kind of working out perfectly for Postecoglou and Spurs.
Yeah, it really has. And it's very, it's kind of the opposite of how Manchester United are having to use the competition, isn't
it?
Yeah,
you kind of wonder, you look at United's team selection, it's obviously influenced by the players they've got available, but to an extent that will compound their problems because the same players are playing Premier League and Europa League, and that'll compound the fatigue. It will make it kind of more difficult for Ten Hag to manage their minutes through the season.
Yeah. Well, look, we had James Maddison coming up with all the lines, actually, in that interview with Jeff Brazier. One of the lines he did say was that when it came to the penalty with Richarlison, he talked about how much it does for your confidence when you come back from a long injury. But you could see that...
it was gritted teeth.
Yeah, he really wanted it, didn't he?
He didn't want to give it over. In fair play to him. I think when you're looking at the players like James Maddison, it was a definite penalty. The referee's in a fantastic position to spot the penalty. He takes a little bit of a heavy touch, but I think he wants the penalty big time because when you're playing in that number 10 position James Maddison plays in, and he had the captain's armband, he was probably thinking, well, I want to get my goal. I want to take my numbers up a little bit. But I think in the end, he recognised that Richarlison's coming back from an injury. He recognised maybe it would do more good for Richarlison than himself. So that shows good experience, doesn't show any sort of selfishness. And in the end, the penalty was a real smart one from Richarlison right down the middle.
Maddison came out of it really well, but you wonder to what extent part of the thinking process was this is becoming potentially embarrassing.
So because how long can that argument go on
at some
the pitch,
point,
right?
Someone has to say, I'm standing back. And if you get the sense that it's not going to be Richarlison, then Maddison's his responsibility is, OK, look, otherwise this becomes a whole thing.
Well, we've seen it over the years, haven't we? Yeah. It can look pretty ugly when two players stand over having a fight for the ball.
It's not the first time we've seen it, is it?
It can be very selfish. So I think in the end he recognised, James Maddison, I need to do the right thing.
Yeah. OK, well, Spurs have Palace away next. They've got Manchester City in the Carabao Cup, a knockout tie again against a big rival. They're at home to Villa and they're away at Galatasaray as well. So it's not easy for Ange Postecoglou to manage these matches going forward. How do you see Spurs faring, given the capitulation against Brighton and then how well they recovered against West Ham?
I'm pro Ange Postecoglou. I think his style of play and style of management tells you that he's probably never going to win the league, which is, probably ridiculously difficult anyway. But what I mean is, when you play that type of football where you're going to get beat 4-3 and you're going to win 4-3, I think if you're a Spurs fan, and we've had the conversation about Antonio Conte and Jose Mourinho, now the Spurs fans are paying the money, they're turning up and they're getting entertained every single week. That lends me to think this style of football could eventually, the way Postecoglou plays and how he wants his team to play, they could be a trophy team. Now, that's a really good thing, because they've been starved of trophies for an awful long time.
Sorry, have they?
Yes, they have, Resh. You know better than me. So I think... So I'm very much pro-Postecoglou.
Even
though it sounds like a contradiction, they're going to win 4-3 and they're going to lose 4-3. But at least it's entertaining.